Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Larry here again for the Leo channel. Today's topic I want to talk about is something I've seen on the internet a few times, and I've gotten this question a few times myself. Is you see this trend? Three things I wish I knew when starting my fitness journey. Right? I'm gonna do a little different take on it, and I'm gonna go the professional edition. Basically, starting out as a trainer or as a fitness professional, now coming on 30 years, uh, what are three things I would have liked to have done differently, or three things I wish I knew when I first started in this business, right? So let's get to it. Number one is learn multiple disciplines, right? Don't be the follower of one style of training because you're not going to get very far with that. You're going to limit who you work with, how you train, and where you can do these things. Um, because as we know, there is no one set way that's best for everyone. So you're going to have to really limit your clientele with that. Um, Along those lines is, when I say don't focus on one style of training, at least in the beginning, you know, learn as much as you possibly can. Implement high intensity interval training, implement more flexibility, mobility training, implement like a Pilates style fitness training, uh, bodybuilding style training, powerlifting style training, strongman, anything that gets the human body exercised and worked out and everything. I think every trainer really should learn a little bit of everything when it comes to that. Uh, Later on in your career, you could narrow down your focus to things that make you feel better, things you're happier with, and things that you know you can be successful at, right? So that's number one. Learn multiple disciplines. Number two, always discuss before you disagree. This is something I really just started doing the last handful of years of this career. Um, because there's always somebody who could teach you something, or there's always somebody that can learn from you. So discuss before you disagree, because again, they may have a perspective that you didn't think of, and therefore you could learn something different, right? Or just a different way of doing something you already do. Be like, hey, that's interesting. And it's a little bit easier than the way I had it. So, hey, thank you very much for that. And the same goes for the opposite, where you may be able to teach somebody how to do something slightly different, something a little bit more efficient, a little bit easier to get through. And now you just, put your mark on something and somebody else. So always discuss before you disagree. Don't immediately shoot somebody down um, because they may be coming from a place of just, not being educated enough, or just not willing to. Rule number one is learn multiple disciplines, right? So there's always something to learn there. So discuss before you disagree when you're dealing with other people. And lastly is you, or as a professional, I wish and I kind of knew this from the very beginning, and this is kind of what shaped my career after maybe the first 2 years when I started working with really, really, really intelligent individuals, is you will never, ever, ever know everything. That's it. Very plain and simple. You will never know everything. Uh, I've had trainers who had 10 years experience tell me that they know everything there is to know about fitness. I looked him dead in the face and I said, dude, I've been training longer than you've been alive. So no, you don't. You don't know everything, you know. I mean, I understand that math doesn't work, but if I'm doing it for 30 years, they've been doing it for 10. Well, that does work. But this particular story happened 10 years ago, so the trainer was 19 years old. He's been training for a year and said that he knows everything there is to know about fitness. And at that point, I was training over 20 years. And I told him, I've been training longer than you've been alive. And no, I don't know everything. It also recently happened at a facility. I was renting space where the trainer was 27 years old and I was at 29 years of experience, and he was dictating how I should train. And very calmly was just like, no, you know, these are all my rule, like things that I wish I knew back then, which I learned now that, he had a very particular way of training. And I said, no, that's not the way I train. That's not what I want to do, because I know there's other ways. And, so I don't take space from that gym anymore. But, in the long run, everybody does their thing, and I don't fault anybody or get mad at anybody for training a certain way, as long as it doesn't hurt people, as long as you're not lying to people, you're not unethical about your training, you're not guaranteeing a whole bunch of stuff and then not delivering. I don't care what you do, as long as you don't do anything negative to people and people want to pay you, go for it. Just don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat, and you'll be fine. But going back to this, the third thing that I wish I really thought about when I very first started training, which I kind of learned a year or two in, like I said, is that you don't know everything. And I am constantly learning, constantly updating my toolbox per se. And I'm doing things, with all of my training styles and putting them together and creating, programs for people that just want to live longer, live healthier, live stronger, you know, without hurting themselves, which I think is pretty much what everybody would like to do. So those are my three things I wish I knew when I started my fitness journey, the professional edition. So maybe I'll do one personally wise, because I made a lot of mistakes growing up. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you haven't done so already, please hit that like and subscribe button so we could continue doing all this fun stuff. And you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or any videos you guys want to see or hear me talk about, or any suggestions, leave a comment. Alrighty? Thanks.